Hello everyone, this is Bobbin Threadbare, and welcome back to the Human Revolution. Where we last left off, we got a tip on where to find the two Sandoval brothers, and it's up here, behind this gate that was locked but now isn't.
You sure you closed the door?
Yeah, of course I did. What do you think I am? An idiot?
You're not gonna make me answer that, are you?
Well, looks like we're up against Purity First guys again. So that means non-lethal approach. And apparently telekinesis, too. Looks like they both had revolvers. Not interested. Now that door is the way forward, but it looks like we can go downstairs here, too. Maybe we can go way downstairs. And there's nothing down there, from what I could tell. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm missing a broken wall or a breakable wall somewhere, but the doors certainly don't go anywhere. Weird. So it looks like someone killed a cop here, and someone's hiding in the next room. You can tell from the radar. So, how about we spook them into coming out?
Shit, bastard!
Ah, it's Ezekiel. I get the feeling that that cop would not have been dead if I had taken care of Ezekiel. Like, permanently.
You blew it, man!
Whoops. Well, I'll just wait for him to reload here.
Show yourself!
Since apparently he was very interested in shooting the wall there. Anyway, thing about the cop here is that that Praxis kit is a trap. Let me just move the body here for you to see what I'm talking about. Yep. 2 EMP mines connected to the Praxis kit, hidden under the dead body. And like I said, I'm pretty sure the body would not be dead if I had killed Ezekiel. Like, just arresting him is not enough. Like I mentioned, he has friends in high places, his brother, and so he probably would have been here even if I had arrested him. But that's just speculation. I've always talked him into leaving every time I've played the game. And I would have to do basically half of the entire thing again just to see the other possibilities of this room here. And yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Access granted.
I wanted to get it done without using the stop worm, but I guess that wasn't in the cards. Oh, frag mines, trank, stun gun. Interesting mix of items. Anyway, back behind here we've got a door. Hidden behind these crates here. And hidden behind these crates here, we have a switch. Ooh, a secret hideout. Also a weak wall. I'm actually going to be using this as a way of getting down.
Pritchard, looks like Sandoval's got a secret bunker. I'm gonna flush him out.
Let's hope he's still there.
Why do we always get assigned to the shittiest spots?
Yeah, why would anyone come down here?
I think they're afraid someone's gonna try to sneak a bomb into the doc's locker.
I'd be more worried about what's in the doc's head than what's in his locker.
Gotta be careful. But not too careful. That takes care of that quite nicely. Alright. So the stairs over there obviously lead back up. Man, sure are a lot of revolvers around here. It's like the pistol's gone out of style or something. I never seem to find any good ammunition for it anymore. I mean, on the plus side, I don't actually need that much ammunition. Bouncing around like a pinball. Yeah, because no matter what I'm shooting at, it's one shot, one kill, as long as I get them in the head. I wonder what they were planning down here. Anyway, so obviously I could have used the rafters there as a way of sneaking past those two guys. What the heck? Huh. But yeah, instead I decided to neutralize them the good old-fashioned way. And I could do a little climbing back up from here. You know, just to show you where you can and can't go through the rafters here. And actually, yeah, you can sneak right down to the way forward, which is this sewer entrance concealed by that cargo container. Not quite sure how that works, in fact. There's a few guys down here. 3 in the next room, 1 guy patrolling this hallway, 1 guy patrolling the next hallway, by the looks of things. But luckily, that means that most of these people are isolated from one another. That'll make neutralizing them quite easy. Now, of course, the tough part will be dealing with the 3 at once. But you can get around them if you can find a way past those lasers. Invisibility, of course, works wonders. And this is actually a hidden space between the 2 corridors that are being patrolled. So this is a safe spot. But there's not much in there. Alright, and that bypasses the 3.
Doesn't come out of there in a few minutes, I'm going in.
No, you're not. He's on the edge. There's no telling what he'll do.
More of a reason to go in there and talk.
No, I'm out of audio range. It was just too important to get this guy. Yeah, and taking one of these bodies with you, that's another way of getting past the lasers, because they have those proximity alert things in their clothing that turns the lasers off when they approach. We saw that before. Anyway, 3 guys at once, no better way of dealing with it than with gas. In fact, it looks like I took out all 3 of them. And yeah, we got the pocket secretary earlier gave us the code to turn off the laser grid, and that's where you do it from. Let's get that stuck right up his ass. Unfortunate. So, while I am disabling the frag mines that are the other way of stopping you if you manage to get past the lasers, let me explain that when you find Sandoval, what I normally see happen is his boss has basically sold him up the river, and so he is contemplating suicide as a way of getting out of his position. And so you need to talk him down from killing himself. Now, for whatever reason, the way I ended the talk with what's-his-face did not cause that to happen, and so we're going to see a different cutscene instead.
Gunshots! You've got to help me! You've got to come!
can ask you this once, Sandoval. Where are the scientists you helped kidnap?
I don't know!
I know all about FEMA and how you removed the GPLs.
I didn't remove anything! I swear it! The operation was too dangerous! They would have died if I removed them! All I could do was switch them to a lower frequency!
The GPLs are still broadcasting?
I don't know. Probably.
Well, Sandy, you're gonna help me find out. We're going back to Detroit, where you and I are gonna...
Yeah, you try that.
Come out! I see you!
I don't think so.
Pritchard, get this. The GPLs are still transmitting. Sandoval switched them to a lower frequency.
But they could be broadcasting anywhere in the world. I don't have the type of equipment we'll need to find them.
It's our only lead, Pritchard. You have to do something.
I know. Listen, the riot's still blocking the street entrance. Head back to your apartment and Malik will fly you over. Maybe by the time you get here, I'll have figured out something.
From Picus.
Alright, I don't think the news is anything new. Let's see what else we've got here. A couple of ebooks. A bunch of revolver ammo. And yeah, that he would use that exact same revolver to try and kill himself during the alternate cutscene. That's the way back. But we don't actually have to go that way. Oh, right. And that's the way forward. And I guess I forgot to read the other ebook on his desk. Whoops. Well, anyway, Sandoval's alive. And that does mean that the cops will be back to arrest him. And probably they'll pick up his brother while they're at it. You know, between the two of them. Don't have to let them go this time.
Access granted.
Alright. And we've actually talked to these people before. This is part of the sewer system that is underneath the one alleyways where the gangsters were. Whatever you call them. Anyway. We don't need to talk to anyone around here. We just need to head back to the apartment, which is actually conveniently close. Not so convenient that I didn't have to use a wipe cut, though. Alright, let's assume my favorite position here.
Nice detective work, Jensen. You ready to return to HQ?
Yeah. Let's hope Pritchard's found that frequency.
You said it.
Oh. Pick the perfect moment to jump. I didn't know that you faded upwards during the fade out like that. It's interesting. And I landed. Alright, so most of the rest of this video is going to be talking. So, just so you know.
Hey, I got a message for you, Jensen. From Pritchard. He says he's not in the office.
Great. So what exactly am I supposed to do?
I don't know. He said you should check in with the boss.
Well, it sounds like a plan. But in the meantime, there's actually a whole bunch of stuff I can pick up. Oh, first round system. Ah, right, it's for the shotgun. I'd forgotten what it was for a moment there. But yeah, that's full of stuff again.
We received word from TPD, Adam. They think the riot's run its course. Apparently they're just mopping up out there. Shouldn't be long before we can send people home.
Well, that's good.
We got the whole team in to handle the situation, Adam. It's under control. Imagine if they knew Hugh Darrow was in here talking to Seraph, the father of augmentation technology. They'd mob rush the place.
Jensen, just who I wanted to see. Can you move my car? Probably not, huh?
Any word on when we can leave the building? You be a prime suspect out there with all those implants.
Hey, boss. Nothing much to report. The front door is secure, and no one will get in. Don't know what triggered this, but we're not getting out until it calms down.
Most of the office employees are gathered in the cafeteria, boss. No sense having them stay in their offices. No one's getting any work done tonight.
That's true.
Boss, you'll never guess what. That millionaire Hugh Darrow is here. Have you been up to see Mr. Seraph? He wanted to make sure you got up there. Maybe you'll meet Mr. Darrow.
Mr. Jensen, did you hear? The cops picked up that Sandoval bastard. Found him hiding in the sewers. That's where he belongs, in the sewers. I'd be willing to bet he's behind this riot. Him and his Purity First henchmen.
I believe they have something different to say depending on how you took care of Sandoval. He turns himself in if you talk him down.
Don't worry, boss. Things are under control. And sure, we're surrounded by an angry mob, but they can't get in here.
Most of the employees made it out before the riot really got going. Whoever's left in here is gonna have to stay until it all blows over. We'll have to hang tight in here until the riot outside disperses. I wouldn't want to go out there right now. You never know what a mob like that could do.
Damn fanatics. Looks like they might have trashed the front plaza, but that's about it. They barely even broke any of the windows.
We got the whole team in to handle the situation, Adam.
Alright, let's see what's in the other secret stash. Oh, pinballed again. Oh, that's the ladder. Nothing up here, but, I think that Pep's pack was here the last time I was in the area. Either way, I certainly don't need it.
Jensen, I just heard on the scanner. Cops were in the shootout with the Purity First cell, right under our feet in the sewers. Cops tried to infiltrate, but the fanatics were on high alert. Must have been spooked or something. Cops think they may have been fighting each other.
We're holding down the fort, Mr. Jensen. No word yet from Detroit PD on how much longer we'll be here.
How many of them were even still awake?
A bunch of augmented soldiers and training them? What do they think stopping us from going home and throwing a bunch of rocks is gonna do?
Well, I guess they want the UN to see how mad they are, so the delegates will do something about it.
We're just workers anyway. Whether the footage is real or fabricated or not, the people who shot it are more powerful than they can even imagine. Think they care what the people think?
My dog must be starving.
Hey Jensen, what do you think? I know we have a lot of contracts with DOD, but David would never build an army of augmented soldiers. Besides, don't they know how understaffed we are since we lost Megan and her group?
Jensen, do you know how long it takes for a dog to starve to death? He just had an operation, too. We had to remove his eye last week, so now he's bumping into furniture and starving.
Well, probably not a single night.
On top of that, they're probably the ones running those super soldier drills in the first place.
Why can't the police just push all the rioters back so we can leave?
It doesn't work like that, Christian. There's something called civil order that needs to be maintained.
I just want to get home before the Pistons game. Hey, Adam, is it too much to ask to be allowed to go home after a hard day's work? Some hoops, a bag of chips, and a can of beer. Let a player play.
Adam, have you seen the footage everyone's talking about? I did. I don't know what the big deal is all about. Super soldiers is a bit of an exaggeration.
He's got a phone call.
Believe it. We get a visit from maybe the greatest mind of our time, and a riot breaks out. Makes us look bad. I saw him, by the way. Hugh Darrow in the flesh. What a thrill.
Say, Adam, I saw the Picus report. It's not true about the super soldiers, is it? Besides you, I mean. I know we've done some work for the DoD, but just hope Mr. Sarif knows what he's doing.
One of the security guys told me that the police picked up Dr. Sandoval. He gave himself up after Taggart denounced him. Doesn't seem like something a fanatic would do, does it? Makes you wonder who might have been giving Purity First their orders.
That sounds like it was a programming mistake.
Do you really think we'd be in danger if we went out there? Maybe Mr. Sarif could fly us all home in the VTOL.
Adam, I saw you on the news. I saw you take Taggart down a notch. You really showed him. I don't really believe he had anything to do with the attacks on Sarif Industries, though. His aide, maybe. He always did seem a little more unbalanced.
I can't believe we're trapped in here until the police can clear the plaza. Who designed this building anyway? Shouldn't there be another exit?
I'm still in shock. Sarif gave some of us the news about our science team, Megan and the others. I still don't understand how they can be alive. They found bodies.
Say, Adam, I saw the Picus report. It's not true about the super soldiers, is it?
I know this is for our own safety, but I want to go home. Couldn't we slip out the back way or something? The building can't be completely surrounded.
It can.
Did you hear, Adam? The police got caught in a real firefight in the sewers with a bunch of Purity First terrorists. They must have a bigger following in the city than we thought. I bet they're behind this whole riot.
Thousands of man, have you got balls, Jensen? I can't believe you took on Bill Taggart in front of the press and won. Taggart can usually tap dance his way out of anything, but not when Adam Jensen's around. Way to put that man in his place.
Clashes taking place outside the doors of such well-known biotechnology firms as Kusanagi.
Isn't there some way we can get out of here? I just want to get home.
The footage
Doesn't sound like the news is updated, so I'll just ignore that.
I heard you were out there, Jensen. How bad is it? I hope no one's been hurt. Damn. Why does it always come down to violence?
Glad you're here, Mr. Jensen. Guess you didn't come in the front door, huh? Cops tried to seal off the plaza to control the riot. It seems to be working.
Jensen has instructed me to make sure none of us overreact. No unnecessary violence.
So what do we do if they start storming the front doors?
Just push them back. But here's the thing. If one of them manages to get inside, it's a free-for-all. You hear that, Kozak?
No kicking in teeth unless absolutely necessary. Got it, sir.
The team has been briefed on the orders, sir. Defense of this building is our #1 priority.
Once we were restraining this guy and they gave one kick too many. I shouldn't have kicked him at all, really. I mean, he was being held down.
So you're saying I can kill the guy if he gets past the door? And what if he gets one leg past? Is it still open season?
Yes, but only on his leg.
Some of the employees got really scared. Piled furniture to block the entrance. Not that I blamed them. Who knows what those crazies are capable of doing.
We'll have to hang tight in here until the riot outside disperses. I wouldn't want to go out there right now. You never know what a mob like that can do.
It's a heavily armed security force, I have to say. I mean, yeah, they got a reason to be, but still.
Christ. What's with this super soldier BS? I know we've done some work for the DoD, but come on. Some people are just looking for any reason to run riot. It's not like the Wings won the cup or anything.
It looked pretty hairy for a while out there, but DPD seems to be getting it under control now. Mr. Sarif told us to stay inside. Thought if they saw Sarif uniforms, it might spark something uglier.
I heard you were out there, Jensen. How bad is it? I hope no one's been hurt. Damn. Why does it always come down to violence?
You hear that out there, Chief? The natives are more than restless. They're crazy. Anyone pokes their head in, we got the okay to shoot, right?
Yeah, basically.
Wouldn't want to be augmented and be out there right now. Or be caught wearing a Sarif uniform. Not that I'm ashamed of the uniform, but there's no talking to those people. They tear me apart.
Christ. What's with this super soldier BS?
Glad you're here, Mr. Jensen. Guess you didn't come in the front door, huh?
Heading through that front door is going to be in for a nasty surprise. We may be overreacting, but considering the attacks lately, I'd rather not take a chance.
Yeah, there is that. Good reason for people to be paranoid around here. Alright, now, as I recall, there are a few items in some of the offices now.
We're holding down the fort, Mr. Jensen. No word yet from Detroit PD on how much longer we'll be here. I've been listening to the police scanner, boss. Trying to get some info? Get this. They found a Purity First facility in the Detroit sewer system. DPD special unit busted in. Found most of them passed out. What do you think, sewer gas?
We received word from DPD, Adam. They think the riot's run its course. Apparently they're just mopping up out there. It should be long before we can send people home.
Alright, now let's see what else I can find around here. Now, once again, most of the computers have not updated either. Like, we can go into the tech lab here, use the password, which is his online handle. That does not seem like a very good security. But yeah, he's got no new email on him. Over here. Yeah, see, the idea is that I could get into a few more offices without having to hack them all. And in those offices, there are a couple more items.
We got the whole team in to handle the situation.
Jensen?
It's under control.
Rumors going around. What's this about Megan and her team actually being alive? You really think it's true? I mean, it's almost unbelievable.
Yeah, that's the footage that DPD was forced to erase, by the way. Was them dragging in dead, completely burned bodies. Ooh. There's something. But yeah, dragging in some dead, completely burned bodies to act as doubles for Megan and her team. Alright, now, what do we have here on the 3rd floor? Nothing new around here.
Not sure if you heard, Jensen. Hugh Darrow's here, talking with the boss, I guess. Jesus, I thought that guy was dead. Mr. Seraph is calling in the big guns. He must be worried about the UN situation.
And what do we have in our office that's new? Well, we do have some new emails. About office thefts. I wonder if we have something to do with that. Whoops. Yeah, the people around here are accusing each other of being the thief, so they sent more of their office codes to Adam Jensen so he can take a look around and see for himself, look for evidence about who's been stealing stuff from all of the offices around here. Wonder who that could be. Alright, looks like that one credit chip was the only thing we were going to find.
Most of the employees made it out before the riot really got going.
Nothing much to report.
So now let's go upstairs. Talk to our boss. And to Hugh Darrow. Possibly.
Sheriff? David's just stepped out for a moment, Mr. Jensen. But do come in. I've been hoping to meet you.
Mr. Darrow, I'm surprised you even know who I am.
David speaks very highly of you. He says that when it comes to detective work, you are like a dog with a bone. Have you found your scientist yet?
What else did David tell you?
Over the years, plenty. But today I'm here as a friend and fellow scientist. Things are getting quite turbulent out there, wouldn't you agree? So many people drunk on revolution. The United Nations being urged to intervene. And all because of the technology I created.
Things have come a long way since then.
Haven't they? And now my old friend David wants me to lead us to the Promised Land. He's asked me to invite members of the UN to Panchaea, to convince them we don't need industry regulation.
Your geoengineering project in the Arctic Ocean.
The installation couldn't have been built without the assistance of augmented workers. And when it's finished, my little hole in the ocean is going to stop global warming. A lovely photo op, wouldn't you say?
If it works.
You mean, if it doesn't kill us all?
Adam? You're back. Can I speak to you outside? Get to the helipad, son. You're going back to Hengsha Island. Frank tracked down one of the GPLs.
Only one? Is it?
Sevchenko's. But Adam, we had to call in a favor of the DOD to do it.
Meaning, the conspirators probably know I'm coming.
You're Adam Jensen, right? The security chief here? Your men did a good job securing this building when the riot broke out. If anyone would have been able to breach the front door, we would have had to deal with them harshly, if you know what I mean.
Interesting note about Hugh Darrow. Even though he invented the neurological connection to augmented replacement parts, he cannot use them himself. He has a special condition that basically makes him allergic to the neural implant. Oh, Lucius de Beers. That's a Deus Ex 1 reference. At this point in time, he was still probably still in charge of the Illuminati. Apparently they want to recruit Seraph, but Seraph has no interest in that. But yeah, Hugh Darrow's left arm is missing. That's why he's got that cloth covering his shoulder. And you can also see that his right leg is busted out. That's probably why he got interested in creating this technology in the first place. But he cannot use it. Unfortunate, really.
Boss said we're heading back to Hengsha?
Pritchard tracks Sevchenko's GPL signal. If he's alive, there's a chance the rest of them are too.
That's a pretty big leap, Jensen.
We've been making big leaps for a while now.
Whatever you say. You ready to get going?
No time like the present. Let's get going.
Then hop in.
I believe there's an ebook somewhere that mentions this in passing, this fact about Hugh Darrow. But for the most part, it's not very important, and it's not really touched on directly. It's just an interesting little fact, that's all. Now, I said I'd get around to it eventually, and nothing particularly new going on in Human Revolution. Hey, there's no time like the present. Today, we're headed back to Science Corner to discuss the evolution of the media. The printing press changed everything. I feel like I've been here before. Nevertheless, I said it before and I'll say it again. The printing press changed everything, and it was especially important to the way people digested the news. First of all, let me draw a clear line between news and history. History is what you get when you take news reports, journals, witness accounts, and all the other first and second-hand documents you can find, and you try and string them together into a cohesive narrative, using the advantage of hindsight to identify all the crucial mistakes and turning points. News is what's often called the first draft of history, and it represents the attempts people make to know what's happening and why, even as the events in question unfold. The first draft of the news is rumors, and hopefully I don't have to explain to you why rumors are a poor source of objective reporting. One person can only see an event from one angle, and he or she might miss something important or else misinterpret what's going on. And that's aside from the inevitable exaggeration that comes from wanting to make one side look better. Soldiers habitually overestimate the size of the opposing force because it's easy to feel overwhelmed when your life is threatened, and because it makes your deeds sound more impressive whether you win or lose. So, gossip is unreliable, and we all know that, but for the longest time, our alternative was not much better. Official news sources like town criers, public notices, pamphlets, and town meetings had no obligation to be objectively true, at least not when the truth would hurt the people doing the telling. And on top of that, nobody had any training in how to set aside their preconceptions and prejudices to create an objective account. And to be perfectly honest, that last thing has never been something you could count on at any time in history. But, like I said, the printing press changed everything. It made it easier for non-official sources to print their conflicting ideas and distribute them much farther and wider than handmade copies ever could. It encouraged people to learn how to read, since it became a more useful skill once there was more reading material to be had. Still, when it comes to the free press, that is more a function of politics than of technology. For there to be a free press, the government has to give private individuals and businesses the room they need to publish all the slanted opinions and biased reports they want. They have to let this happen because it can be almost impossible to tell all of that apart from the unvarnished truth, and you will definitely not get the truth when there is only one person deciding what the public will and will not know about. Daily newspapers go back at least 300 years, back when the Daily Current launched in England in 1702 following the parliamentary victory that was the Glorious Revolution. A free press was actually in Parliament's best interest at the time, since the organization represented several factions among the nobility, and so they couldn't all agree on what news to cover and how. Better to just let each faction and each part of England publish their own views, since publishing nothing would have just had gossip fill in the blanks. Now, let's skip forward to a time when a new kind of press and a cheaper kind of paper was making newspaper printing more affordable than ever. By the 1830s, newspapers were cheap enough that you could sell copies on street corners for a penny each. Everyone, and I do mean everyone, could now afford to keep up with current events. By 1880, the United States alone had 11,314 newspapers and periodicals in circulation. This intense competition led in turn to the development of advertising techniques, including both reputable and disreputable tactics. Headlines became bigger, pictures started showing up on the front page, and eventually became color. Front page articles would include the first couple of paragraphs, and then bury the rest in the section so that you'd have to buy the paper to keep reading. And then the funny pages showed up and practically invented the sequential art medium as a way to draw in kids and casual readers. And then there's the bad stuff. Misleading headlines that cause people to freak out over nothing because, even 100 years ago, not everyone could be bothered to read the whole article. Sensational stories about celebrities that don't actually mean anything, but which let people feel closer to fame and power, and which ruin the lives of the people who are hounded by professional stalkers. And of course, there's the good old-fashioned yellow journalism, a style which disguises opinions as facts and speculation as hard evidence. Where the term comes from is something of a mystery. It could refer to a yellow ink dye, the Yellow Kid cartoon which Hearst and Pulitzer fought over during the big circulation wars, or it could mean yellow as in coward, since it's basically a bunch of non-combatants trying to provoke conflicts. The term yellow journalism isn't as popular as it once was, but the tactics sure are. And when you think about it, yellow journalism is just an evolution of the tactics used for centuries before then. Riding the airwaves. When people first started transmitting sound on radio frequencies, a few of them were set aside for commercial use, the AM and later FM frequency bands. Then, when television came about and people started broadcasting video signals, governments set aside a few more frequencies for that. By World War II, radio was the biggest news media, and by the 1960s, television was taking over the top spot. The advantages of these mediums are quite obvious. Live broadcasts meant that you could get instantaneous news and information with live coverage of breaking events instead of hours-old information that might already be out of date. And that's just what radio offers. TV broadcasts let you see what's going on for yourself. And while you're limited by what the camera can show, it's a lot more visceral than a text or verbal description. Sorry to have to tell you this, guys, but newspapers have been a dying industry since the 1920s. Oh, yeah, and there were also news segments that played before movies, but those had the same time delay issue as newspapers. There are a few good examples of how this immediacy made broadcast news so important. First of all, there was the famous crash of the Hindenburg in 1937, during which an utterly shocked reporter, Herb Morrison, was able to tell the world exactly what was happening as it happened, and quite famously shared his opinion on the matter. Oh, the humanity! 1938 marked the first official use of broadcast news correspondence, with Edward R. Murrow and his boys, who covered the annexation of Austria. Murrow would later be in the heart of the London Blitz during World War II, and it's very possible that his coverage played a key role in why public opinion in America swayed towards helping England. Television had its own moments starting in 1960. That was the year the first presidential debate was televised. And while it's debatable just how much Nixon's appearance influenced the election, the fact that people have that theory is remarkable in itself. In 1963, people got to see Martin Luther King make his I Have a Dream speech live, and they later got breaking coverage of Kennedy's death. In 1964, the Johnson campaign aired the famous Daisy commercial that implied his opponent would pull the nuclear trigger. The commercial only played once, but the ensuing buzz made it clear that TV was becoming highly influential. Unfortunately, the fact that these frequencies are limited in number was kind of a problem for radio and TV journalism. With print media, anyone who can afford a press and a stack of cheap paper can create a newspaper or a magazine or a pamphlet or whatever else you want to distribute. Your only real limitations are time and money, and those two things are always in short supply. But with broadcast journalism, you also had limited space, and so you also had stronger government regulation to deal with. Despite the First Amendment and its foreign equivalents, there has always been at least some government censorship, and that's only really started to change in a big way as of the 1960s and 70s. But the limited space available to radio and TV meant it was more important to regulate who could use it as a platform to say what, especially considering the medium's popularity. In 1934, the federal government created the FCC to regulate the airwaves, and one of the provisions in the act that created it was an equal time rule. Every broadcast network had to devote an equal amount of time to every major candidate and not censor any part of their platform. At the time, this made a lot of sense, since if the network took a side, it would take away a big part of their opponent's ability to use this influential medium. However, that restriction was eventually lifted, and that's because of cable news. Suddenly, the number of available channels wasn't limited by radio wavelengths, and so you had all kinds of specialty channels pop up, devoted to kids' shows, comedy, drama, old movies, history, and everything else. And in 1980, Ted Turner launched the Cable News Network, the world's first 24-hour news channel. The much more partisan Fox News and MSNBC would soon follow, and the reason they could become partisan was because the equal time rule no longer made sense in a world with a theoretically unlimited number of channels. The internet changed everything again. Do you want to know why newspapers are failing left and right, despite the fact that they've had competition for almost a century now? It's because the internet can do everything a newspaper can, while broadcast news could not. Newspapers can offer a lot more than a broadcast segment or even a 24-hour network. Paper media has room for full-length articles that go on for pages and pages and really dig into a story. They can cover local stories that wouldn't interest a national network and demand more time than what a local half-hour news show can offer. They can afford to be dry and use statistics, because words are a much less dynamic medium. They can entertain by supporting comic strips, and they can help private individuals advertise on the cheap for selling stuff, hiring for jobs, and creating personal ads. So, guess what you can do on the internet? You have unlimited space for articles. You have unlimited websites for local news and special interests. You can present your information as text, audio, video, or any combination of the above. Webcomics are just about everywhere and come in all shapes and sizes, and there are all sorts of sites out there for job listings, online dating, private sellers, and everything else that you used to use the classified ads for. So yeah, of course regular newspapers are dying. Unlike broadcast news, the internet does everything newspapers can do, but better. Unfortunately, this fact is not all sunshines and roses. To put it mildly, there are some growing pains associated with switching to internet-based news consumption. For one thing, people tend to prefer free things even when they know they're getting less quality, and so they tend to prefer sites that support themselves with ad revenue rather than subscriptions. But traditional ad revenue is going down because people are using ad blockers and otherwise becoming jaded to the usual banners. And so ads have become more obnoxious in order to get more people to interact with them. I'm talking about pop-up ads that only appear when you click somewhere on the site, overlay ads that block the article until you get rid of them, and video ads that play whether you like it or not. And then there's the most insidious ads of all, paid content ads. They look like articles, they sound like articles, but they come with a tiny disclaimer somewhere that says that they were written not to offer objective news, but to soft sell people into buying an advertiser's products. To be honest, even this isn't new. Newspaper ads will often disguise themselves as articles, and companies have always paid for scientific-sounding reports that support their products. But you know, there are soft sell techniques, and then there are dick moves. And I kinda think paid content is more of a dick move. Then there's the old specter called conflict of interest. This is what makes honest reviews hard to come by on special interest websites, and the special interest magazines that came before them. When you cater to a special interest like bicycling, video games, movies, books, and everything else out there, then obviously the ads that will get the most attention are the ones that also cater to these interests. But then that means that these companies are effectively giving the sites money to review their products, and they can take that money away if they get a bad review. So that's a pretty clear conflict of interest, but it's also pretty unavoidable for the reasons I brought up earlier. But that, in a nutshell, is why people tend not to trust professional reviews anymore, because you cannot guarantee that they're unbiased. That's also why Consumer Reports, for one, makes a point of being completely subscription-based and paying for every product they review. Then there's the page views issue. This is a case where efficiency is actually part of the problem. See, when you buy a newspaper or watch a program live on TV, you are experiencing all of the ads in exchange for all of the content. The pointless but popular articles thus support the dry but important ones because you're getting them all as a package deal. But with online content, things are different. You can read only the articles you want to read, and what's more, you can read several articles on competing sites about a single topic. Suddenly, you aren't supporting a business, you're supporting a type of article. And to get you to support their website, journalists have to write more popular articles and fewer meaningful ones. Also, these same forces are causing local news coverage to dry up because the audience for it is inherently smaller. So, does this all mean that honest journalism is doomed? I wouldn't go that far. It survived Pulitzer and Hearst after all, and they used shady journalism to manufacture a goddamn war with Spain. Things are unsettled now because everything is changing rapidly and we don't know how to balance all the new forces at play. I think we'll reach an equilibrium eventually. That, or a new set of forces will show up and throw everything out of whack in a completely different direction. Either way, this path we're on is going to change. Thanks for joining me again today in Science Corner. I hope I'll see you next time for another William Gibson story in a different format.